the 2019 UFC Hall of Fame. We have a few inductees. Michael Bisping, the headliner. He was just such a consistent, long-running name in the sport. And Joe, MMA is so much different than other sports. Like, we've never seen an MLB, NFL, NBA Hall of Famer come back and fight. It's not out of the realm of possibility that a Bisping fights. It's not out of the realm of the possibility that Rashad Evans fights again. I mean, is it likely? No. But is it possible? Yes. And we've seen Hall of Famers fight. BJ Penn still technically fights. He stands up and falls over when he gets hit. But Michael Bisping, UFC Hall of Famer. First off, I'll just throw it out there. Is he worthy? Kind of a setup question for you to knock it down anyway. But your thoughts on that and him going into the Hall of Fame?
I'm not sure if he's worthy. I don't really have much of an issue with it because the guy did so much for the sport. He's a great character. He's a fantastic fighter. Obviously became a world champion. You could always count on Michael Bisping to not only come out there and fight and put on fantastic fights, but also stir the pot. He did a great job for the UFC and moving the needle. Did just amazing things for the UFC in England and in Europe in general. I kind of really don't have too much of an issue with it. But there are other people that I'm still kind of wondering, like, why isn't George St. Pierre being nominated for the Hall of Fame? Why isn't Big John McCarthy some way, somehow being, inducted into the Hall of Fame? It is kind of weird, but am I going to lose sleep over Michael Bisping being inducted to UFC Hall of Fame? No, not at all.
And that's the same argument that you'll hear out of wrestling fans too. Why isn't this person in? Why isn't this person in? Well, this doesn't mean necessarily that those other people won't get in, because of course they will. Big John will get in the contributor wing, of course. And as we look over the career of Bisping, he won the middleweight title, beating Rockhold, he beat Dan Henderson. And you look at that resume. Wins over Anderson Silva along the way, Chris Lieben, Matt Hamill. Those are actually the wins that stand out more. Brian Stann, I think it was his longevity, his influence, and his impact that brought him there. Rashad Evans, on the other hand, he was a light heavyweight champion. He beat guys like Rampage Jackson when they were perceived to be in their prime at the very least. Another Ultimate Fighter guy. He beat Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell. He beat Bisping. He beat Bonner. Like I mentioned, Rampage, Tito Ortiz, Phil Davis, who's still doing it, Dan Henderson, Chael Sonnen. I think that despite the way that Rashad Evans' career ended, I think that his resume is much more impressive, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But, it is what it is. I mean, I've been down in these UFC Hall of Fame ceremonies, and they're really nice. They're really good to be a part of. Sometimes guys get emotional. But they're fun to be a part of. And, again, like I said, not taking anything away from Michael. But at the same time, there's people that I'm thinking like should be ahead of him. And I think you put it succinctly. There'll come a time when they're going to be put in there.
Speaking of the Diego Sanchez Clay Guida fight being inducted, I think this is an amazing way to get people like that in this Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Not champions, but Clay Guida and Diego Sanchez are such important. I don't want to call them role players. I don't want to call them good hands or anything like that. Guys like that are integral to what makes the UFC. It's not always the main event. It's not always the title fight. You got to have moments. You got to have special things like that. And damn it, Joe, that was a real special fight.
Those guys were teeing off on each other at one point where the hair was flying for Clay and Diego biting down on his mouthpiece. I mean, that goes down in MMA lore. That goes down in history as some of the craziest moments within a mixed martial arts bout. So yeah, that was a fantastic fight. I think it was absolutely incredible. And throw it in there. Why not? I mean, there's other bouts that should be in there as well, but that's one for sure.
Now, have they announced a contributor? They've
2019, no.
Yeah, I don't think they've done. They're real consistent with that, with like contributor wings and all that stuff in modern era and the fight and stuff. I like the idea that they have multiple wings. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, it's good to see these guys go into the Hall of Fame. It is. I think it's important to the sport, and it lets these people be remembered. Now, I'll hit you with this one, Joe. Make an early prediction for next year's inductees.
I say it every year. Big John McCarthy and George St. Pierre.
Fair. I'm going to go out of left field. I'm going to say Big John McCarthy and Brock Lesnar.
Interesting.
And here's the thing. Here's a fight that will have to go in at some point, but they don't fit the Guida and Sanchez bill. Pat Barry and Czech Congo.
Yeah.
And Czech Congo probably ain't going in because he's in Bellator right now.
Yeah.
But when he's done with Bellator, that fight's got to go in. That one,
crazy.
That one was really important to the unpredictability and perception of UFC on TV.